When you started your YouTube career, how do you feel that it has evolved and changed you as a person?
It's changed me so much as a person. A really big thing is that I was able to fund my own transition with obviously the money I've made from YouTube. So when I started my channel, I was broke as a joke and I had no idea how I was going to pay this huge expense of transitioning. Transitioning is not cheap. And within about a year and a half of being on YouTube, I was able to pay for it. So obviously that's a huge life-changing thing. And then just on a personal level, I feel like so many of my best friends in life that I have currently are people I would have never met if I wasn't on YouTube. I feel like it's toughened my skin a lot. I feel like, anytime you're a public figure, you're going to have people coming at you, loving you, supporting you. And it's been, I think, very rewarding and centering as a human being to tell myself, which I have told myself since the beginning, I'm never going to believe a positive comment or a negative comment. And I've really made a point to not derive my value from comments online because they can switch up like that. And also, no one really knows me from the internet, if that makes sense. Only the people who know me in real life. So I feel like I've become, as weird as it sounds, because I am such a public person and also a very private person and quite guarded, but I don't think that's a negative thing. I think that boundaries are healthy. And, I've just experienced so much that I would have never experienced if I wasn't on YouTube. I mean, like going on, the Joe Rogan podcast. It's like I grew up watching that guy on Fear Factor. Like, that's crazy. So many opportunities over the year. I was the first trans woman in Penthouse magazine. I've done stuff in the CNN building. It's just so much that I would have never dreamed of.
Since you're close to a million views, do you see that equating to views themselves, or is a million followers just a great number to have? But do you see that in the actual view counts for each of your videos?
Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I've always been very lucky that I've had a really naturally high engagement level. So I've always gotten the kinds of views that people with even way more subscribers than me get, which has been such a blessing, knock on wood. YouTube doesn't pay per subscriber. So YouTube pays per view. So, in terms of money, that's really all that matters.
How do you keep your engagement up? Because I know it's a very tough thing. I've been on YouTube since 2006, and my channel never really moved anywhere. But yours has blown up so much. There must be something you're doing specifically that is garnering you such success. What do you think that is?
I think that, since the beginning of my channel, I've been so open with my journey in all aspects, whether it's being trans, whether it's wanting to start a family, whether it's my relationships. I do a lot of social commentary, which is obviously nothing to do with me, but, you know, I also do a lot of personal stuff. So I think that over time, people have become very invested in me and my story and where I'm at in life. And I think that that has been a big benefit to me, even though sometimes it can get a little frustrating that
Mhm.
people are so in your business, but I asked for it at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that, one of the differences between YouTubers and traditional media figureheads or talking heads, think of people on CNN or Fox News or whatever, is that, when people are watching my YouTube channel, it's like I'm filming from my home. People feel like they're in my home with me, they're my friend. And at the end of the day, my supporters are my friends. So I think just having that ongoing relationship rather than just talking at people um, is a big reason why I've had the success that I've had.
When you moved to LA, was that a career move or was that for a different reason?
It was for a relationship and career. At
Mhm.
the time, things are so different now post COVID where everything's remote and, the industry is in so many different cities now. But at the time, YouTube or LA was kind of the place to go if you're a YouTuber. And that changed over time. So now I'm in Austin, Texas, which I love it here. And I've actually had more opportunities here in Austin than I've had in LA the past couple of years. So, I was a little nervous about moving here, thinking like, well, are there going to be opportunities there? And then within 2 months, I had done 2 streams with Joe Rogan and done so much cool stuff. So it's working out.
How do you feel that LA affected you as a person and as a quote unquote entertainer?
So LA changed me in a lot of the sort of typical ways that you hear people talk about when it comes to the city. It is a very shallow city. It is a city in which people are a lot more interested in what you do than who you are. So I think that LA had me become quite guarded. But since moving to Texas, I feel like I've really been able to let that guard down. There's not as many, industry people here. It's not the same. People are just a lot nicer here. So that's been really cool.
Now that you're more or less part of the entertainment industry, and I mean that in saying that both the news media, commentator,
Yeah.
YouTube, it's all kind of the same now. It's become so
Yeah.
encompassed. Even since when I left the entertainment industry, it's changed so drastically. Um, do you feel that it is going to stay so close knit where you cannot separate politics from entertainment anymore?
I think so. You might have to be in it to understand this, but the world of like social commentary and political commentary is so similar to every other form of media. At the end of the day, you're on camera, you're entertaining people, and just because it's not acting or singing, like your job is to entertain people, and that's how you make money, and that's how you make a living. So, yeah, I think those lines are definitely blurred, and I've also always made a point to be entertaining because there are so many people that do similar content to me that frankly, in my opinion, not to name any names, but I feel like are quite boring. It just is so black and white and you're just talking at people. Whereas I like to be funny, I like to be entertaining, I like to be personal. And I think that that has always set me apart as well.
Now, where do you think you want your career to go forward now that you made this move and now that you've kind of made your mark? Where do you want to go from here?
I would really love to just continue doing what I'm doing, first of all. I'm writing a book right now, so that's going to be a thing. I'm so comfortable in the online space that I feel like a lot of YouTubers talk about how they want to eventually transition to mainstream media, whatever that is these days, right?
Mhm.
Or movies or film or television. And for me, anytime I've ever done television, I've walked away feeling like, it's really not as fun or as cool as internet. So, I plan to be an internet cockroach, and I will be on the internet as long as there is an internet. And I don't want to go anywhere else.
Speaking of media and entertainment, how do you feel that Hollywood has best represented you in various aspects of media? Do you feel that they're doing an honest job of doing it, or does it feel surface level?
Oh, definitely not. I'm definitely not. I don't fit into the sort of politically correct mold that is
Mhm.
required to really be, a darling of the mainstream media. So, you definitely have people coming at you, and there also is this war, even just me aside, there also is this war between, social media influencers and traditional Hollywood, traditional media, where, you know, I think that television and film are kind of feeling their grasp on society kind of loosen a little bit. They don't have as much relevance as before. There are television shows that get less views than some of my YouTube videos. There are, you know, podcasts that are gaining, think of Joe Rogan, there are podcasts that are getting massive amounts of more views than primetime television. So I think that that's going to be an ongoing battle, and it may become a little more peaceful once traditional media understands that the internet's here to stay and it is powerful, but we'll just have to see.
Uh, a little bit more of a personal question. Who is the real Blaire White? When you come home, you take your shoes off, you sit down, you disconnect from everything. What's it like to be you?
I would say the real Blaire White is someone who is highly invested in my real life relationships. I think that because I am so public online and because, people on a minute to minute basis are consuming me through the internet and through a screen, it's important for me to have tangible, real friendships and real relationships that I put a lot of effort and investment into. I'm the kind of person that when I'm your friend really for life. There are very few instances where we're not going to be friends, at any point. So, you know, I love spending time with my friends. I love shopping. I think that there might be a misconception because some of the topics on my channel are more on the serious side that I take myself seriously, whereas I really don't take myself seriously at all in real life. I think that everything that's happened as a result of being on YouTube um, has been almost just like a bonus in life. I never expected it. So I really take it in stride. I take it as, what happens, happens, what doesn't happen, doesn't happen. So I feel like I'm a lot less serious in real life.
What are some of your favorite types of media to consume? If it's podcasts or TV shows or whatnot, what do you find that kind of alleviates your mind from everything going on day to day?
I'm a reality TV junkie. I love all the Real Housewives franchises. They're my favorite. I'm also a podcast consumer. I'm really loving a lot of podcasts on right now. Podcasts are definitely coming up. They're so popular now. So at any given point, I'm walking around my house just kind of listening to a podcast over the speakers or, watching reality television. So that's the main media I really consume.
I would suggest if it's ever offered to you, do not do reality television. Don't
No,
be
I
on a
would never do
show.
it.
Myself and my wife were on one, and yeah, it's terrible.
What show were you on?
It was a home improvement show on A&E called Fix This
Oh,
Yard. So yeah, when you have to act like yourself, but you have to be a buffoonish version of yourself because they're looking
yeah.
to. You're supposed to be the one making people laugh. It's just when I watch myself back on that episode, I'm just like, I wish I had never done this. Even though we got something out of it, the way I look at myself when I appear on screen, as opposed to when I've appeared in like background of movies or bit parts or whatever, it's just like I look terrible. They made me look as terrible as possible, and then people think
Yeah.
that's who I was. And yeah, just yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is that, I think one of the reasons why I've never been enamored with doing television or more mainstream media, which I have done a bit, but I always walk away from it feeling like it wasn't great for me. I'm very blessed with being on the internet and doing YouTube in the sense that I can control my own image, so
Mm-hmm.
anything that comes out of my mouth, even if I mess up sometimes, which does happen, at least I can say that it came out of my mouth and it really was how I felt at the time, even if I was wrong. Whereas, when you do other forms of media, more traditional forms, you really have no control over how you're edited, how you're
Mm-hmm.
shown. So that's really stressful.
Which here I'll make sure that we edit out anything that you don't want.
No worries. You
Because
don't
I'm
have to edit
not
anything out.
I'm not here to make money off of you. I just do this because it's a fun side gig that I like doing.
Right.
um, Speaking of YouTube and the things that come with it, when I was doing some more research before this interview, I noticed there are a lot of people that dedicate multi-hour videos to not only discussing you, but a lot of other people that have been on my show before, YouTubers. And how do you just kind of take that with a grain of salt when someone makes a 5-hour video to point out every mistake that you've made?
I couldn't bring myself to watch it if I tried, like I've genuinely never sat and watched one of those. I don't know who could watch anything that long. But again, that like is just part of it, in the sense of like, you think back to traditional celebrities, you think of tabloids and you think of that's what that is to me. And luckily my fans don't take it seriously either. It's just part of being in the industry. And if you can't
Mm-hmm.
take it, then you probably should pick a different job.
If you didn't end up doing YouTube and your career going the way it was, what would you have done to sustain yourself from day to day?
Well, I was in college for computer science before starting YouTube, so that probably would have been the trajectory that I continued on. But I ended up quitting just because why go to college to make money if you're already making money all of a sudden?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was probably going to be the path.
Do you feel that you've made an impact that is meaningful to you? It's one thing to have views and numbers and the celebrity status, but do you feel that you've made a difference to people's lives?
Absolutely. One of the things that I'm very proud of is when I run into supporters in real life, I very rarely have someone just casually say, hi, I like your videos. It always comes along with some sort of deeper thing, like you've helped me come out of the closet, you've helped me with my family, you've helped me with this issue that you talked about in a video. So, sometimes I think it's easy to see screen names and likes or whatever and forget that there are real human beings behind that are affected in any kind of way. Each person's impacted differently, but I'm very proud that, when I meet my supporters, it's usually something a lot deeper than just, oh, I'm a subscriber.
And my final question would be, if someone were to come to you and say they want to get started in YouTube or any kind of online media, um, what would you suggest to them would be their best path to get started?
I would say the best path is to just start. That's the hardest part. The first one is the hardest. And I would say don't overthink. You know, a lot of people go into it with, okay, I need to invest all this money on an amazing camera, amazing lighting, and then I'll start. And that's kind of a trap because first of all, sometimes you don't ever end up starting because that's just, you know, a long journey to even afford those things for most people. But also, you know, I started and my videos were the worst quality ever in the beginning, and it still ended up, you know, being a career. So maybe just don't overthink it and just jump in. And even if it doesn't happen right away, you have your whole life to make it happen. So